This is Amanda Lucas, the Community Connections Coordinator for the Greater Cincinnati Regional Food Policy Council at Green Umbrella. I will be calling it the Food Policy Council moving forward. From spring through late summer 2022, we undertook a comprehensive strategic planning process to chart a course for the next few years. This is the first video of a two-part series. This first exploratory video provides an overview of the following aspects of the strategic plan: timing, goals, process, and highlights. The second video is a summary of recommendations and next steps. A strategic planning process led by the local food action team, which would become our current Food Policy Council, and its first director, Angie Carl, had guided the council's work since 2014. The timing of the 2022 process turned out to be better than anyone had realized. Our former director, Michaela Oldfield, initiated the planning process in late 2021 after serving in the role of the backbone staff for about 6 years. In addition to the changes that are to be expected during any period of several years, other significant developments pointed to the need for reflection and fresh planning. These developments included the COVID-19 pandemic, several large grant projects, the addition of another backbone staff member, and growth at our council's parent organization, Green Umbrella. With the security of 2 multi-year USDA grants guiding and sustaining much of our work through September 2023, Michaela felt that this would be a wise time to plan for our next steps. Michaela moved on to another organization as Green Umbrella was receiving strategic planning consulting responses to the request for proposals. However, our incoming director, Maddie Chera, and Green Umbrella's executive director, Ryan Mooney Bullock, continued the work Michaela initiated, contracting with Way Consulting LLC to undertake a multi-step planning process. I should note that I wasn't even working here yet. I was hired as part of the implementation of the new strategic plan. We wanted to use the strategic planning process to determine the unique niche that our Food Policy Council can fill. Our niche should reflect the needs of the community and of our partners. Because the food system is so multifaceted and has challenges at many levels and scales, there's often the temptation to try to be all things to all partners. We knew we could not effectively do that and have meaningful impacts. As some of our partners put it when asked for suggestions during the planning process, it is valuable to do a few things well. What's next? How do we break boundaries? How do we push things? How do we change this food system? We wanted the strategic planning process to produce a 2-year work plan that could set us on a path to determine how the initiative will continue to evolve in the coming years. In 2022, the backbone staff of the Food Policy Council and Green Umbrella supported the principal consultant, Lindsay Way, in conducting over 20 deep dive interviews with additional stakeholders beyond the 23 interviews conducted in 2021. Interviewees represented Green Umbrella board and staff members, local policymakers, and our food system partners, including food system advocates, public health employees, grassroots organizers, institutional purchasers, food distributors, and funders. Leaders of food policy councils in other regions were also interviewed. Lindsay also reviewed internal and external documents and research, along with participating in regular meetings of the full council and leadership team. She presented the plan as it developed at both the May and July 2022 meetings of the full council. In addition, she facilitated interactive comment and contribution sessions with all who were present at the meetings. From the outset, an essential part of our approach to strategic planning was to seek focused input and feedback from stakeholders at multiple scales at several points throughout the process. Michaela worked with Maddie to create a shared sense among our backbone staff of how the Food Policy Council's role has changed over time and some of the possible areas where we could grow. When Michaela initiated the approach in 2021 with council members, she first presented research on the diversity of other food policy councils across the country during one of our full council meetings. After some reflection, she led us in a virtual jam board activity, mapping out visions for the council during another meeting. For her part, Maddie conducted interviews with 23 stakeholders and partners in the fall of 2021, pairing reporting and evaluation for our USDA Regional Food System Partnerships grant with questions about our Food Policy Council's strength, pain points, the kind of support and partnership desired, and suggestions for the strategic planning process. We heard from those partner interviews that the areas where they needed support from the Food Policy Council or other sources included policy and program development, connection, communication, guidance, funding, equity, and staffing. The final plan comprises several sections, including an overview of the current environment, an analysis of stakeholder engagement, and a pairing of our strategic positioning with feedback on our current work and reflection towards our broad 5-year goals. It also features a section on resources, which includes examples from other food system organizations and how they addressed similar organizational and thematic needs. The broad context of our current environment in the greater Cincinnati region includes threats to our food system like rising development pressure, massive farm consolidation, the aging of the farming population, growing income inequality, food insecurity rates higher than the national average, and impacts of climate change. We have opportunities on the horizon and resources to address these threats, including statewide organizations like the Kentucky Food Access Network, Ohio Ecological Food and Farm Association, and Ohio Food Policy Network. There's also the expanded funding through the USDA. Our regional features include a large urban core, home to many Fortune 500 companies, higher education institutions, and healthcare organizations. Our area is surrounded by farmland and strong agriculture industries. Our region also has a prominent food culture, both historical and contemporary. In addition, when we consider our Food Policy Council in reference to other food system organizations and groups across the country, we have special assets, including a broad range of food systems work, nonprofit status and organizational stability through our parent organization, Green Umbrella, a history of high funding success, and a budget significant enough to cover dedicated staff time. A regional scope that has potential to address the food system where it really sits, across traditional political boundaries. And finally, a strong culture of collaboration with many partners and a foundation in collective impact. On this slide, you can see provided resources. Resources include information on Way Consulting LLC, notes from the July 2022 meeting, and an overview of findings. Thank you so much for listening. Reach out to me if you have any questions.